Hey everyone, I'm Jessica, here to talk about another solo game, and this one I think is a really unique experience, and that one is Oath, just known as Oath, or also Oath Chronicles of Empire and Exile. This one is very different, is how I will put it. It is very much a storytelling type game with a lot of strategic elements, but it really puts you in control of creating these stories that bring a world to life. So it's not your typical board game. It's not like one of those ones where you're going to strategize and find the best cards to gain victory points and come out ahead. It's very much something that is like an ongoing campaign, sort of akin to a role-playing game, but not quite, where if you were role-playing as something, it's almost like you're role-playing the entire world, which I know sounds very strange and not expected, but that's what this game is. I think it has a lot of surprises in there, and I decided to play it solo. There is a solo mode. Right now, this is before a new expansion is going to be coming out that sounds like it adds a lot to the solo experience. I am not there yet. It hasn't come out yet, so right now this is just the base game. And I did not want to play with the solo mode as it was written, just for numerous reasons. It wasn't quite the type of solo experience I wanted, and I'm okay with playing multiple characters or playing multi-handed, so that's what I did. I ended up playing as 3 different characters, if you will, which does take away a little bit from the hidden information and a little bit of kind of, planning when to reveal a card slightly, but not enough to kind of take away from the experience. And I'm going to continue to talk about it here, but just as sort of a baseline, I last played this campaign about 2 months ago, and I still think about it. And I haven't played in a little bit, but I still think about those moments and the world that I left behind and how fun that was to play through this. I think I played almost 10 times over the course of a couple of weeks, and it was great. It was amazing. Things happened. You see how this whole world sort of evolves and how leadership kind of rises and falls. And I loved coming up with the stories of who was involved each era, and also kind of almost bringing back the original Chancellor. That sort of lineage came back as the eras went on, and it was just really neat to see. It's just a really neat and different sort of game. So you're going to have one player who is going to play as the Chancellor, and if you play solo multi-handed, the Chancellor is always in play. This is sort of the leader. Usually it's the character, the player, whatever you want to think of, who won the last era. That sort of continues on, and this is sort of what they're doing. And you can kind of see over here, there's different actions, but this is the majority of what you're going to be doing is where you're moving around the world. You are placing cards in different locations. You're searching locations, which kind of reveal elements that kind of influence the world around you. And it's hard to describe this game. I feel like I'm very vague with it because it is sort of, it's something you almost have to play to really experience it. But know that it is not a game that's going to be for everyone. There are 6 different factions in this game. I'm trying to see if there's a nice, easy way to show where those are. There probably is. I am not seeing it at the moment. But there are 6 factions. And the other nice part, let's see if I can actually bring this over here. This is one of the best designed boxes. One second. I need to focus so I don't knock things over. Everything fits in this box so nice. I don't want to dump anything, but this is it. And up here, if you see this, this is a neoprene mat, and it is a large one. Let's see if I can kind of, like, it is, all right, it's not going to come out nicely, but it's large. If you see pictures of the game, there is a very large map that's in play. One second as I concentrate. Don't knock things over. But there's a nice, there's a map, there are these factions, that's what I was talking about. When you start the game, you have a world deck, and I'm just going to grab one card from my world deck, which I think is from the original. Just as a quick example, this is one of the cards, so let's get it so you can actually see it. It's a faithful friend. Love this card. But this is from, you can see up here, that is a Nomad faction card. So there's going to be 6 different factions, and each faction sort of changes the world a little bit. Like the Nomad deck does have a lot of this sort of animals, things that move things around a little bit. That's sort of the theme of that one. In my game, I pretty much exhausted the Discord faction, meaning I brought all of those cards in. We were very, it was very chaotic, I will say, in my world, but that was kind of how it evolved, and that was kind of cool to see. So you have these factions that you also have favor with, and this is the cool thing with this. Again, you have a favor bank with each faction, and that creates a closed economy. What's a closed economy in board games? It's where there's sort of a fixed amount. So you typically will start with just 3 favor, and I have favor somewhere around, it's at the bottom of the box. They look like coins. But these, you start with 3, and that's it. And you will spend some favor to actually replenish a bank, but you may also use it up in other instances and take it from that bank, so that there's not just an unlimited supply. You might think of that in a lot of other board games where it's like, well, here's the bank, here's where I get all these resources. It's just unlimited. That's more of an open sort of economy mechanic in those types of games where it's just unlimited. It's there, the supply is there. If you run out, use a substitute, that sort of thing. Here, you don't use a substitute. It's designed to be like that so that you actually kind of manipulate how you're interacting with these factions as players who are typically exiles. They may become citizens with the Chancellor. And I feel like I'm not describing this game very well because mine was so focused on just storytelling. I had like a character who came in with a lot of like magic-based cards, arcane cards, if you will, from that faction. And they sort of introduced magic into this world in a way that was memorable. But then they kind of got greedy and they started taking over a lot of different areas and fighting with other exiles. And that was not good. They kind of spread themselves too thinly. And that was that. And thus begins another era, because there is a point where you will have somebody will win. You will typically have one of these goals will be out there. So there's going to be just the Oath Keeper is whoever does whatever it says at the top. And then the successor, though, that can come into play in another nuanced way. I don't feel like I need to get into the specifics of it, but there's so many nuances to this game. It's not just about traveling around the world, putting down cards, and winning. It is about building this narrative about, well, what did this exile do? Oh, they teamed up with this other exile against the Chancellor. Remember that big battle? Or remember how they held the Banner of the Darkest Secret, because secrets are another currency in this game. Remember they had all those secrets and then they used that, but then someone else stole it from them and did this, and it was like, whoa, what was that big secret? And there's just neat things here that I had such a great time with. And I used my calico critters to really make this world my own. And I kept it, pretty light. Like the battles, if you will, were not like major violent things. It was just, we now have control of this region. And it is such a cool thing. The other thing I wanted to show was, this is the world box. My entire campaign has been saved up to this point. So although I stopped playing, everything is laid out in here, how I will need to put it out on the map the next time I play. Another thing that I can actually show that might also be cool, there are a ton of different relics in this game as well. These are rare and hard to come across, but they all do something really neat. Why is this not? I'm trying to get some actual text on screen here. They all do something neat. Come on, it'll almost work. Close enough. But they're not just cards. Like I should go through here, and I remember The obsidian cage, that was a huge, that turned things around. What was the other one? The bandit crown. Like, I can look at that and I can tell you we found that in the mines, and that was how I had one character actually rise to power, because they used all the bandits and they kind of rallied behind them, and that is how they rose to power, with that bandit crown. And then, would you believe it, it got dug up on the beach eras later, and that was the turning point for having the original Chancellor's kind of descendants return to the throne. Yeah, that happened. And I know it might not sound that interesting, but like, those are the story moments that this brings out. It's very much a storytelling game, though. I don't think this is going to work for someone who really wants to win. Because a lot of times it's not the winner of each era who is making those decisions, who's really influencing the world. It could be just this non-stop battle between these two exiles while the Chancellor remains in power and keeps winning, but the struggles that these two go through in how they are fighting over, there could be like forges where they are creating these relics, or where they are going back and forth on gaining these secrets, and they have something that the other one wants, or they know that whatever, there's something going on with this exile that is the banner of the darkest secret that they hold, and they can use it against him. It's things like that that really bring this to life. And it's one of those games where I don't think it's something that you play once and you know if you have got the full experience. I have played it 8 times. And yes, it was in a short span of time. And it was great. It was so much fun to go through, to make up stories, and I think that is one of the things that I have learned about myself with playing a lot of solo games. I do enjoy the ones that are very simple, very mechanical, and here's the gameplay, here's your goal, I want to get victory points, I want to win, great. But what really stands out for me, the ones that create those memories and that are the ones that I want to talk about, the ones that I want to share, those are the ones that create these stories, that let me use my imagination to bring that to life. And I think Oath does that in a very unique way. Other things I'll note about it is that the rules are a little, I wouldn't say convoluted. They take a little getting used to as you get into the flow of the game, especially when you are campaigning against someone else. The whole sort of, the flow there does not feel as smooth as it is. It's not complex. This is a fairly straightforward sort of game, but some of those elements just feel a little bit, again, I don't know the right word for it. It's not convoluted, it's not complex. They just feel a little rough around the edges, and it takes a few times to actually understand, oh, that's what I'm really checking for. I need to compare this number to that number. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, don't forget about the bandits. Got it. Okay. Simple things like that, that once you get into it, it's fine. And the other nice thing about this is if you make a mistake, this is not a game where you need to reverse, go back in time, redo it. Just go with it because it's storytelling. And I love it. There's so many other things. I'm looking at the pieces over here and just thinking about the other way that the map works and how you discard cards, but to different regions. So you can actually almost chase a card around the world. And it's neat. And there's visions that you can draw from that deck, which may make an exile win if they reveal it at the right time and things have happened. It's very cool. I think it's very hard to explain this game in terms of what exactly is going on beyond storytelling. I think if it appeals to you, you will know immediately, yes, I want to do that. But if you're like, I don't know about that, it may not be the right game because, again, it is so different from other sorts of games. But I love it. I didn't expect to. I figured it was just going to be one of those, sort of novelty sort of experiences that didn't really stand out. And yet here I am, so excited about it, and I haven't played it in a few months, and I am ready to just take everything out and I want to play now. It's one of those types of games that is just so memorable, so enjoyable, so much fun, lots of unexpected surprises. And I will say, playing three-handed solo, again, it may not be the best way to play, but I am excited about the upcoming expansion content, which sounds like it has something more for solo, but even if not, I am happy playing multi-handed like this. It is working well for me. It is creating the type of experience that I want out of a game like this. And I get to tell fun stories and remember them and go through and look at these cards and be like, yes, I remember that. It's just an awesome sort of game that does so many different things that seem way out there in some ways, and yet it works, and it is awesome, and I love it, and I can't wait to keep going with my campaign just to see what else happens in this world. Maybe we will get a faction other than Discord in my world deck. And maybe that Bandit Crown is going to come back around. It probably will, and there will be continued stories around that one relic and other things. So that, again, is Oath. Fantastic game that I am just absolutely loving. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you get some great solo games to your table soon. Bye!